Then I took it.
You wanted to become a Mike Tyson.
Then I took it.
I've had bad experiences using these things. I wasn't realizing that I'm that deep. Welcome to another episode. My name is Trevor. We officially meet on this episode. Today's topic is going to be drug and substance abuse. Interesting topic. I am joined by two new guests today.
My name is Albert Obara.
And I'm Malik. Parents, you've heard it. We are talking about bangi. What do you guys call it in your mother tongue? Right? Fagi. Yeah? What's your name?
And actually the language in the street, they call it stoning.
Yeah, yes, stoning.
Yeah.
Yes. According to the way I have structured this whole journey, from showing you how a child grows up in a home, to going to primary school, then going on to high school, I have shown the different things that happen and how they affect this child. The same peer pressure that I have been revolving around throughout the whole scope of a child's growth comes to reveal itself in a very different way when someone enters college.
We are talking about things which affect the mind, right? It knocks one off, and then you can no longer reason, you can no longer function how you ought to, or how you normally should.
Have you ever abused the same?
I almost got into that world.
But you didn't.
But I didn't.
Dive into it.
For some reason.
You took marijuana? Weed? You've tried it?
I've tried a cigarette.
Oh, a cigarette?
Yeah, cigarette. But I would say I am able to relate to those who have been fully into that world, and I can understand what actually they go through, because I have a brother who is into it, and it's not really a nice experience, I would say.
Very sure.
Yeah, right. So I have an experience.
This is your blood brother?
This is my blood brother. Time to time, he goes missing, and again, but the ultimate of it is that you want to recover him. Yeah, we want to recover him and have him back to the brother you were to us. Yeah. Gone are the days when you will hear the word weed, and then the whole society is on your back, as in it's on your on your neck. But today we see it. It's just all
the norm.
It's the new norm.
Yes.
For my experience, there are several times that I've really used several substances. It started way back when I was in high school, leave alone in college.
What?
What? The very first thing that I went into my bloodstream as a drug was I don't know. Do you know Kuber?
Yeah.
This thing.
The one.
Yeah. The one that you put.
But was it
under your lips?
I know what time they used to call it Chavez.
Yes. That's it.
Chave.
Yeah. And so I remember a brother. Should I call him even a brother, because he could have killed me. Anyway, by that time he was a brother. And so he told me one afternoon, hey bro, can you just escort me to the toilet? And I was like, well, why not? I followed him. On reaching there, I see him reach into his pocket and bring out something. It was tied in some sort of polythene bag. Then he unrolled it, and then I see him going to the toilet because he suspected like somebody could be watching. And so he passed me over via the gap that we have from one room of the toilet to the other. So he passed it over, and it was really plenty. And so I didn't know that you're just supposed to pinch a little.
Yeah, just take a pinch.
I just took the whole,
the whole junk,
like muscle, the whole junk, and then placed it under my lips. It didn't take really long, just a few minutes, and I was feeling like the whole school was going round and round. I felt like running to the teachers in the staff room to source for help, because I felt like I was dying. But the brother knew the dangers that we will have to face if I you know, Hedy left me to like, you know, go to that extreme. So he held my hand by my shoulders. I couldn't talk honestly. I felt like I was dying. He led me to some other bathrooms which were really distant from somewhere where anybody, you know, will reach us. And so there I took it out. I washed myself. And then the boy suspected, like, you know, if this guy is found in such a state, I landed myself in hot soup equally. So he left me. He left me. Well, that was the very first one.
So the smuggling.
Where do they get it? How did you even access it in high school?
Oh, well. The friends that I had used to, some of them were smokers. When I say smokers, they used to smoke bang, cigarettes. They used to, you know, indulge in alcohol consumption while in high school. By that time I was informed too. And so at one point in time, my very first time to,
were you in the same class with them?
Class with them? Yeah. There were those that were in the same class, and then there were those that were, you know,
were there higher classes
ahead of us? Yeah, some of them were in Form 3, others even in Form 4. You know, so these are the very ones who will source for us these things. In as much as the security at the gate was tight during opening days, you know, and at whichever point in time you are coming from outside to the inside of the school, if at all you are unable to, you know, smuggle the drugs into the school, then we use the staff. Teachers, cooks who used to smoke, you know, or maybe drink, because nobody, of course, will search somebody who is not a student at the gate. Yeah. There are many other ways that we used to sneak them peanuts in high school, maybe stacking the rolls of weed in some blue band, you know. Yeah. Or maybe some other interesting way, you know, we could go around to an unchecked spot in the school compound immediately before reporting at the gate, and then we throw them in.
Throw them through.
And so we'll go exactly over the wall or maybe the fence, whichever, and then we'll go later to collect them.
The shoes that these students put on could be tafis or whatever. There's a way that it is removed, and then some rolls of, could be weed. They are really lined up meticulously, right, undetected. I will bet you that there is no even a sniffer dog can actually detect it. The popular method which was really in action during my time was Rico cubes. Right? Yeah, Trevor is amazed. Rico cubes.
Amazed.
Yeah, Rico cubes.
Creative.
Yeah, Rico cubes. Students would boil oil, alright? They will take fat and then boil it, and then add some, you know,
onions, making the spice,
exactly,
making it
alright? Yeah, but also in the mixture, there's something that has to, you know, intoxicate them, alright? So it is added there. There are so many ways that drugs are smuggled in to schools, when actually a parent in home supposes and actually presumes that schools are apparently supposed to be the safest place for their kids to be. But again, also, maybe Trevor, it is something that you will maybe in the course you will maybe need to talk about. Could it be that this child, once they go to high school, all right, there is kind of a space of freedom they find that they don't have at home, all right? There's some sort of love they are ever seeking, all right? That closeness, that sense of belonging. Because, you know, any person who has capitulated to drug and substance abuse, there's something that they always want to have in place of what, or not even in place.
It's an escapade.
It's an escapade, all right? So they want to fill in some emptiness that is in them. And so you find that only that they fall in wrong hands. The methods of filling this vacuum that is in them, that they feel that needs to be filled, it is just a nasty thing that ends up eating them.
The people you surround yourself with will determine what you will end up to, you know, to become. At some point in time, I remember I was hanging with my friends. What did I just say? Hanging with my friends who were smokers, you know. It wasn't the first time that I was hanging around them. I was used to it, but every time I was just a passive smoker. On this very evening, I remember vividly, I requested the brother to hand me over the blunt. I had observed him, how he was doing it.
Took a hit.
Took a hit. And then, I don't know what he was doing at this part. I felt like it was some... you get?
Yeah.
So, took another puff, another puff. There were 3. But what transpired afterwards, my friend, was a hell of an experience. Because, honestly, I couldn't even turn my head to, you know, find way to my place. I left the brothers there because I felt like there is an effect, really impactful and powerful, that is taking place in my bloodstream, in my whole, you know, system. And so I turned. There was a tiny, you know, mtaro. Kulikuwa na mtaro hapo. Nikasema hii mtaro inakaa mto. Ndairuka aje. So nikajaribu. So I spent like a minute trying like to, you know, to figure out how to get over to the other side. Na nikamtaro. Kesho yake nilienda hapo nikaangalia nikapata kumbe ilikuwa mtaro. So I was like trying the whole time. Nikasema acha tu niruke, nikianguka ndani hii mto nianguke. Nikaruka nikashindwa, na nikaangalia nikashindwa. Kwani hii mto tena imekuwa ndogo aje, nimeruka aje. Nikajaribu kutembea. I was leaning on one side, like literally, because I felt one side of my head was really heavy. So I lost balance. So I was leaning to one side, trying to walk home. It was an hell of an experience getting to my place. I could spot people approaching me, and it's like these people are fully aware that I am intoxicated. And so I felt really fearful. I felt like, well, what if one of these guys recognizes me and recognizes the state attorney and then goes to report to my parent, my dad, who is a lion, you know, a lion in the home.
Your dad specifically?
My dad specifically. Remember telling you here earlier that I'll mention why maybe I didn't really get deep into it. The fear for my dad. My dad would kill me by strangling, honestly. And so, I remember I saw the people approaching me and I could try to, like, you know, pave way for them, avoid them. So I was doing things, some sort of dramatic things on the way. More suspicious, unaware, you know. At some point I felt like, well, why don't I just get on my mark and sprint home? And so I was like, you know, I was fearful, and what I did, you know, is just what I just mentioned.
You sprinted.
I sprinted badly. And then I got home, I took a basin of water. Took a basin of water, went into the corridor, and, you know, poured it all over my body to cool down my head, because I felt like, man, I'm dying. And so I was there holding my pulse and feeling, am I really alive? Holding my pulse, and then I felt like, well, it is beating. But wait, why does it feel like I'm in another world? When I went to lie on bed, I saw I was descending a very deep hole, you know, and I was floating. And there were many images that were, you know, coming into my mind at the very time. I was feeling like, well, why am I dying so young? I thought I was dying. So every time I could wake up and pinch myself, and I was like, well, I'm feeling pain, to be sure that I'm alive. I'm feeling pain. Do dead people feel pain? The following morning, after I woke up, I went to my knees and prayed and told God, well, it's a little bit better, but still the feeling was in my head. I told him, God, take this away from me, because I feel like I am really dying, and after I get over it, I'll never again give it a try. It took me a couple of weeks to get over the feeling and the, how do we call it? The seeing of, like, you know, the hallucination. It took me a couple of weeks. But by the time I was getting over the same feeling, I swore to myself and I prayed to God and said, this feeling was my first and my last. I'll never again give it a try.
My dad was also, you know,
raised in the same.
Yes. My dad used to eat. And one of the symptoms, is that by those who, I don't know if it was the same case with you, they eat a lot.
Yes.
They eat, and that's how we realized my brother is using weed.
You said your father
Yes, so my dad actually
in his previous
yes, when
years,
he was a youth, he was a youth. So in fact, for him it was worse. He says that they will break into someone's homestead and then just pick a chicken.
Exactly.
Wanapika wanakula. Nasema nini? Na washibi watoke hapo hivyo waende wachemshe githeri. Ai jamani. Wakule
kwa shamba wachukue ndizi.
Kwa shamba wakule ndizi ya mtu. So that's how my dad, when he started observing those, unbecoming behaviors and abnormal,
started to conjecture.
Yeah, this boy is into drugs.
When I started out smoking weed, I started out with bushweed, right? And then I went to shash, and then now maforen. Now, maforen is what is trending right now.
Wow.
Everyone is even like maforen. But now, you see, the thing is, if you observe these guys in maforen, there's a certain way you talk, and you wouldn't even realize. You have a very slurred speech, and you're slow. Right? So unakuta mse, oh yeah bro, ni bana
stole
yeah.
But you don't. No, it's not funny, bro, because these guys, they don't realize it.
Yeah.
It's making me
and you're so deep into it that you have no idea how deep you've fallen, because you're in that abyss, and that is your
it's your life,
your place. No, your place of peace.
Your place of peace, exactly.
That's where you.
And in fact,
you feel like you are most yourself.
And in fact, you pity anyone else who is not in your place.
It's not even about pity. It's like you comfort yourself that you're in that situation.